The last month of a damn good year in gaming is coming up fast. And as they say in the songs that play in the stores, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the top 10 new games of December 2023. Starting off at number 10, it's The Day Before. Boy, if you want to talk about a little Christmas magic, it's The Day Before having a release date. It's early access. It is an early access release date, but this is a release date that is mere days away. It is next Thursday. This is a game that I am 90% sure is a real game at this point. I'm still 10% pretty convinced it's also not a real game at this point. Like, this has been such a bizarre public thing that sometimes when I'm talking about it, I feel like I'm being pranked. But The Day Before is a zombie survival game. It was first revealed a couple of years ago as one of the first big, look what Unreal Engine 5 can do trailers for games. And yeah, I mean, at the time it really was incredible, but there's a lot that has been released this year that looks incredible. And I do feel that that has maybe removed some of the differentiation factor of The Day Before. It exists in a landscape of games that are incredibly good looking now, but still, honestly, if it comes out, it looks a lot like it was a weird name lawsuit that was frivolous and stupid from some other company that, frankly, were being jackasses to the developers of The Day Before that has kept this game wrapped in a bizarre public story. And honestly, I've said this a couple of times, I do think the game itself has to really be something special to stand out. But I mean, part of the reason people thought it was fake was just because it's such an ambitious open world. And I really am looking forward to seeing just how that has ended up working out. We'll finally be able to when The Day Before lands on Steam on December 7th. At number 9 is Stargate Timekeepers, a real-time tactics game that takes place in the universe of Stargate SG-1, both developed and published by a company called Slitherine. This is a tactical game that starts at the end of Season 7 of Stargate SG-1. So this is a game that takes place across 14 story-driven missions where you take a team of specialists, each with their own unique skills, and real-time tactic your way through it. Now, I have a minor concern based on the idea that it takes place starting at the end of Season 7 in terms of the narrative, and it sounds like the narrative is actually a large portion of the game. So maybe it will be more geared towards Stargate fans rather than people who are hungry for a real-time tactics game. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it does look pretty sweet, honestly. My hope is that it's got something there for newcomers to Stargate as much as it does for people who have actually watched Stargate SG-1 seasons 1 through 7. It does look like a good game though, and I will be trying it out when Stargate Timekeepers is released on Steam December 12th. At number 8 is Arizona Sunshine 2, a VR survival shooter that takes place in a post-apocalyptic, zombie-infested Arizona. Now, this is, of course, the sequel to Arizona Sunshine 1, which was pretty well received. At least the PC version of it was pretty well received. The one thing that people were kind of split on were the controls. Some people thought the controls were really good, and some people found them to be frustrating. And it looks to me as though this game wants to address that because they've completely revamped melee combat, which is probably the right place to focus on. They've also upped the realism in terms of the mutilation and gore system, which sounds really nasty, but again, remember this is a zombie game and that's a big part of it. And hey, you get a dog in this one. You didn't get a dog in the first one, you got a dog in this one. The original Arizona Sunshine I thought was a good game. I thought it proved that you could do this kind of game on VR and it would actually be enjoyable. So I'm pretty excited to play this one. I'll say the graphics are maybe not as mind-blowing as one might expect with a 7-year gap between releases, but that's okay. It is VR and it's probably more important it runs better than looks incredible. The game itself looks like a great deal of fun to me, and that's really what matters. Arizona Sunshine 2 is coming on December 7th to the PS5, the PC, and Quest. Moving on to number 7, it's Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, an isometric turn-based RPG developed by Owlcat Games, developers of Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. You play as a, guess what, rogue trader, checking out barely charted regions of space with a giant void ship, bringing in a party of folks. Now, this is an RPG with turn-based tactical combat, so you're going to be able to take it as slow as you want, make as many strategic calls as you can. It looks good. I like what this looks like. I think it looks like a pretty interesting entry into the Warhammer 40k universe. This one is coming out on a pretty wide range of systems. Like, you're not stuck with next-gen consoles if you want to play this one. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader is coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, that's the Series and the One, and of course PC on December 7th. And number 6 is Baldur's Gate 3. Now, you know exactly what's up with Baldur's Gate 3 at this point. It's been an absolute phenomenon on the PC and on the PlayStation 5, but developer Larian Studios is gracing us with the Xbox Series version this month, which has no doubt been long awaited for RPG fans that are jealous of the PlayStation 5 users because they don't play games on PC. Baldur's Gate 3 is insane. When you see a little bit of footage of it, it's probably not enough to really understand what you're looking at because it's a game that allows for so much choice, and all of that choice is done at the level of a game with significantly less choice. It is a AAA game through and through, and it rules. I'm excited for Xbox fans to be able to play this one. Baldur's Gate 3 is landing on the Xbox Series sometime this month. And number 5 is Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, a brand spanking new entry to the ever so popular classic JRPG series, in which you take control of the titular Dark Prince, who is cursed and can't harm anything with monster blood in it. So basically, you end up commanding a bunch of monsters, controlling them, making them do your bidding, and synthesizing them. What does that mean? Well, you'll be combining monsters to create more powerful monsters. So you're getting a little bit of the Dragon Quest, you're getting a little bit of the Pokemon, you're getting dynamic environments that change with the seasons to collect monsters up and down the way. A lot of this looks like new ground to tread for the Dragon Quest franchise, and I'm pretty excited for it. I love Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince is a Switch exclusive, and it will be releasing on December 1st. And number 4 is Kingpin Reloaded, a classic, over-the-top, extremely 3D Realms ass shooter that was announced to be getting a remaster a couple of years ago, but, we really haven't heard anything since then. Kind of just nothing. And to be fair, the remaster isn't that big of an improvement. The textures are definitely cleaner, but you're going to have to slow it down to even notice it. In a lot of ways, the fact that they didn't touch some weird stuff about the game, like the kind of PlayStation-y vertex wobble that all the characters have. It's not a PlayStation game. It never was a PlayStation game. It did come out in 1999, but it came out for PC only. But it's got that look. It's immediately what you'll think of when you see any of these characters move. And it also came out at a time that kind of made it get overlooked. It came out about a month after the Columbine shooting, which is really unfortunate because it's a game that has nothing to do with a school shooting. It's like an arcade organized crime experience. And like I said, it is crazy over the top. It didn't get carried by a lot of retailers then, so it definitely didn't reach its full potential. And Steam was still several years out. So if anything, even though the remaster isn't mind-blowing in terms of quality improvement, it's kind of nice that the game's gonna finally get its day in the sun, so to speak. And the Cypress Hill soundtrack is back in its full glory. Kingpin Reloaded is coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Nintendo Switch, and PC December 5th. And number 3 is Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising, a 2.5D fighting game from Arc System Works. Honestly, the original game is super weird. It's a blend of RPG and fighting game. It's a good game that I do enjoy, and a lot of other people do as well. It has a very positive Steam rating. This is a updated and overhauled take on the same idea Apparently, a lot of the controls have been simplified, which I know can be pretty controversial within fighting games, but I also don't know to what extent it's simplified. But this series just does a very good job of taking what we kind of know as the 2D RPG art look and using that for the kind of overworld in a way that looks both exactly like traditional RPGs and nothing like traditional RPGs. And then, of course, battles are a great fighting game. It's Arc System Works. They know what they're doing with that. Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising is coming to the PlayStations and PC December 14th. And number 2 is Terminator Dark Fate Defiance, a real-time strategy game set in the future wars. So, not really where a lot of Terminator media takes place, especially stuff that you can play through. Now, this game's based on the Terminator Dark Fate universe, so yeah, if you know anything about that, you know about the setting. But more or less, you're in a big old war with the machines. Things look bleak, and it's time for you to strategize your way in real time through this world. I don't know, it's something different. It's not really something I would expect in the Terminator universe, and it looks interesting. Obviously, Terminator is a series that's full of really rich lore. There's a whole bunch of different Terminator units, and in a real-time strategy game, that's like perhaps the shining crown jewel that you might expect. All these cool different units with different abilities and different purposes. I'm pretty excited to see how this works out. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance is coming to PC on December 7th. And finally, at number 1 is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now, I'll just say right off, I am no fan of Avatar. I'm judging this entirely on whether it looks like a good game, and I think that there's a lot of promise in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Like I said, I don't really care a whole lot about Avatar, but Pandora is a very interesting world and would make a very good open world for an, Ubisoft game. And that's exactly what this is. It takes place across the Western Frontier, which is a region of Pandora that has not been seen in films before. And apparently the story involves looking into the origins of the Na'vi and organizing the local tribes against the RDA. So, I mean, you've seen this story before in an open world game, but Pandora is a very unique setting. If there's anything that I will give credit to James Cameron's self-important ass on Avatar, it's that he did create a very cool world. On top of that, this game is going to offer 2-player co-op, and I love that. I wish more games that were just straight open world games would do that. And like I said, even though I'm not really a big Avatar fan, this looks like a pretty decent game to me. Avatar fans have to be losing their minds because it kind of looks like they did the best that Ubisoft is going to do, at least. So while I will always probably express skepticism of the source material, Frontiers of Pandora looks like a good game, and it's launching on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on December 7th. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.